Hello everyone, welcome to ShopDev. So in this video we're going to have a look at the default keyword and we'll explore how it is also being used as an operator and as a literal. So let's begin with an introduction. So first of all, the default keyword can be used as a keyword. Okay, so like in switch case blocks, where you have your case defined, and in case you have an unhandled value or a case that is not defined in a switch block, so the default is executed, and this is managed using the default keyword. Okay. Secondly, the default keyword can be also used as an operator. Okay, so basically it's used to produce a default value for a particular type. So you see this type of constructs for the default operator when you're dealing with generic classes or generic methods. Okay, so consider this example on the slide here. So you display a default value of say of a particular type T. It can be string, integer, or any other type. So just to initialize the default value, use the default operator, and within the parentheses you specify T. So if it is int or nullable of an int, it will create the default value and store it in this variable. Okay, and you can use it directly like default int to specify a default value. So this is an example of how you use it as an operator. And now, as from C# 7.1, well, you can use it as literal. Okay, so it is similar to the default operator, but with some enhancement, and it can also be used for initialization of a variable. Okay, to set the default value for optional parameters. Can be used as an argument in a method call or in a written statement. So we'll see this literal part in more detail in the next slide. But for now, let's explore how it is being used with the switch case. Okay, just a quick recap. So for the purpose of understanding, so I have just the same switch block. Okay, so I'm passing a switch input value of 5. So this inside the body we don't have any case defined, and logically this default block should be executed. Okay, so let's check quickly. Okay, so okay, 5, no cases specified, so default case is being executed. Okay, and that's it. So that's a quick example of with the switch statement. Now let's see another example using the default operator. So first of all, I'll pick a simple example and then with the generics. Okay, so here what I'm doing is just using the default operator to initialize the default value of integer to this variable and default value of string to a string variable. Okay, so let me build it quickly. So logically this default value for integer should be 0, and for string default value is null. Okay, so we'll just have a quick look at it. Okay, so int here, as you can see, the default value is 0, and when you execute the default value of string, it is null. Okay, so this is what is displayed on the UI on the console, and for null values are not displayed in console. So we'll make another example just to illustrate that. Okay, so that was with the default values when using directly. And now with generics, okay, I'll just put the same method that I had in my slides. So I'll just create a static method here. Okay, so I just have a static method of type T where I'm just initialize the value, default value of t, and will display the default value of the type we were targeting on the console. Okay, so I'll just take two examples. Like I'll take say a nullable of integer, okay, and a list, okay, a list of integer. Okay, so let's see our behavior with generics. Okay, so let's step into, so the default value of nullable of integer is null normally, and let's check. Yes, it is null. Okay, and default value of a list of integer as well should be null. Okay, so like you can see on the screen here in the console, so default value of nullable of integer is null, and default value for the list is null. So this is what is displayed on the screen, and that confirms that the default operator, yes, there's a default initialization of the default value of a particular type. Okay, so that was one thing. Let me do some cleanup. Okay, so now we'll have a deeper look at literals. Okay, so well, like I said in the beginning, so in C# 7.1 there was some enhancement that were done, I mean new features with respect to the default keyword. Okay, so similar to the operator, yes, the default literal can be used to initialize a variable. Okay, and the compiler just infers the expression type. Okay, and on top of it, so the default literal can be used in the following four cases, like I said, the assignment or initialization of a variable, declaration of the default value for the optional method, in a method call to provide an argument value, and in a return statement. Okay, so let me take an example to explain this part, the initialization. Okay, so I'll just take one simple example like this. Okay, so here, so it is similar to the default operator, but in the sense that you no longer have to specify the type. So as from C# 7.1, there's no need to specify the parenthesis and int. So this works as well. Okay, so see here, compiler has no errors. So let's just debug and confirm what the default type is, the default value. So for int should be 0, and for the list of string should be null. So here we can see the value is still null, and for the default int it is 0. So that was the first case for the default literal. Now we'll see how we can be used for the declaration of the default value of a particular method optional parameter. Okay, so I'll just add a particular method, a simple method. Okay, so just for our purpose of understanding, so have a simple method. Okay, so which is just displays a message on the console. Okay, so it has a message and an optional parameter. Okay, so bool uppercase default. So normally the default value for boolean is false. Okay, instead of writing default, so many developers write the false value, but you can also use the default keyword. Okay, and now if I invoke this method, so for our case 2 of the default literals, so here what I'm doing is in my method, so if I'm requesting uppercase, should display the hello world in uppercase. Otherwise, if uppercase parameter is false, which is default, we are not specifying it here, see, okay, we're not specifying, and should be displaying everything in the string in lowercase. So let's just verify it. Okay, so here you can see uppercase is false. We haven't specified in the method call, and my message should be displayed is hello world, everything in lowercase. So let's check in our console. Yes, everything is in lowercase as compared to what was requested. Okay, so that was the second example. Now we can like modify this. Okay, so now the parameter becomes mandatory. Okay, and now if, for example, I just want to put the default value of the Boolean type, okay, I can also use it as default here. Okay, in a method call. So the default of the target type is bool. Okay, the target type is bool, sorry. So the default should be false. So let's check this third case. Like we said, in a method call, provide as an argument value. Okay, so let's check. Okay, so uppercase is false, so logically should be displaying everything in lowercase. Okay, so okay, my hello world is printed in lowercase. Okay, so that's it for the third scenario. Now we'll have a look at the fourth case, where the default keyword can be used, I mean the default literal can be used as a return value, okay, in a return statement. Okay, so I'll just take another example, like a simple method to square numbers. Okay, so if the number is not equal to 0, okay, I'll return the number times multiplies by itself, otherwise I'll return the default. So here the return type of this method is int, and return default, it will be inferred by the compiler and should be returning 0. So just call this method twice with two different variables values, sorry, and let's explore our answer. Okay, so logically square number of 3 should be returning 9 here and stored, and for 0 we should be getting the default, which is 0, and should be 0. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, so first call, number is 3 and should be returning 9. Okay, so we got 9. Second case, number is 0 and we return default, and default of int should be 0, so we got 0. Okay, so that's it guys for the default value operator and keyword in C#. So if you like the video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you, thanks for watching. Bye, happy coding.